Hey, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
And we're the Rambling Reviewers.
And today we're looking at Legend of Korra, Book 2, Episodes 1 and 2.
For our Continuing Korra Coverage.
Yes, with all the alliteration we can think of.
Yeah, honestly, we thought we'd probably have the first part up by the time that, the second season came out, so...
Well, by the time they listen to this recording, they'll have seen the first part anyway, so they don't even know about much of the timing.
Well, I mean, I was hoping that we'd have our reviews of the first season
okay,
before...
well, so retroactively, let us apologize how long that took, I guess.
Yeah,
It's okay, though.
Well, actually, no, it wasn't apologizing for that. I meant, forget it. So here are our thoughts on the first two episodes of Season 2 of Legend of Korra.
Which is technically Book 2. This is really annoying, and this is a lesson for creators. We have a way of organizing shows. They're called seasons. You have a number of seasons and episodes in the season. But what they're doing now is, well, originally it was the 3 seasons of the Avatar original show, and they were called books, just to be fun. Now, each season of Legend of Korra is divided into 2 books, technically.
2 books.
Yeah. Everyone is calling this Season 2. It's technically the second half of Season 1 in a freaking administrative sense. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird.
I thought that... Forget it. Okay.
They may have changed their names last time I checked, but I remember reading that on Wikipedia.
Okay, first thoughts. They fast-forwarded 6 months after...
we defeated the Equalists.
And Amon.
Yeah.
Which I'm really not that fond of. I mean, I would have liked to see the city rebuilding. I would have liked to see Korra, having PTSD nightmares from having her bending removed.
Yeah, but she got it back so fast last time. They clearly weren't dwelling on that.
Yeah. Who cares about interesting character development that could possibly lead to Korra looking back on her actions, deciding she's made mistakes, and looking to improve herself? No! Full speed ahead on the Korra train!
Yeah, I mean, it's...
And it shows.
Basically, it's a continuation of what we'd seen before. Still good art and fight choreography and stuff. I love when Mako was on a motorcycle and he's chasing those guys who are making ice and they're behind their truck, and he spins out, and then as he's spinning he makes fire to melt the ice away, and then he continues pursuing them. I was like, that was cool. That was a neat idea.
Why is he a cop all of a sudden? I mean, it's been only 6 months. Shouldn't he have gone through cop school, maybe work in a lower precinct as a paper pusher for a little while?
Well,
and yet he's already being considered for, I'm going to be a detective soon.
I mean, I could understand him moving ranks fast because he's the freaking Avatar's boyfriend and all that stuff, but I would have liked to see that he had interest in being a cop during Season 1.
Yeah, he didn't
He could
really...
be like, wow, those metal benders are so cool. Too bad I'm not a metal bender, but maybe I'll help him out anyways, a firebender. And then 6 months later, we could all be like, hey, look, he's finally doing that thing he wanted to do. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, but first off, Mako is just so... Mako.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't really get a sense of anything he likes other than Korra.
And Asami, as far as that lasted. But yeah, it was...
So he likes chicks. Whoop-de-friggin-do.
And, point out that he had a paternal instinct for his brother. But yeah, it wasn't really inspiring.
That's not a paternal instinct. That's the same instinct that you have to keep your pet dog from sniffing around in the garbage.
Still not a fan of Bozin, I see.
He didn't do anything, especially in this 2-parter. You could have taken out all of Bolin's scenes.
Yeah, you could have.
And not only would he have improved the runtime...
You could have spent that time on other stuff.
The fact that Korra has not grown as a person. At all.
Yeah, so one of the first things we see her is arguing with Tenzin.
No. The first thing we see, and this really sets it up. Last season, she gained incredible cosmic power. The Avatar state. Tiny bit Deus Ex Machina, but really, what do you expect from Avatar?
Better, actually, if you see the first show, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, but anyways, so... tremendous cosmic power. The ability to reshape the very world at the most fundamental levels. When Avatar Kyoshi went into the Avatar state, she destroyed a great man's empire and chopped off a huge chunk of the mainland and pushed it out to sea to form her own island.
Yeah.
When Roku went into the Avatar state, he was able to control erupting volcanoes. When Aang went into the Avatar state, he was able to remove someone's bending powers.
Well, that was his ultimate Avatar state.
And put out fires all across the land where the Fire Nation had scorched it to glass.
He could also freeze himself in ice for 100 years. So
okay, yes, but we're preferring to avoid that because
we're going to talk about the more
move.
important ones, yeah.
And Korra, we see her using the ultimate cosmic power to win an air scooter race.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean...
Hey, Korra, I thought you learned patience last season. You know, maybe patience to learn how to master your airbending so that you don't lose to a 4-year-old. Or here's a better thought. Maybe you don't use God power to beat a child in a race. This is like the Grinch in the movie, well, How the Grinch Stole Christmas live-action version, where the Grinch is participating in that in the sack race, and you can see he's like knocking kids aside and like pretty much using wrestling moves on them to win a sack race.
Okay,
and then he
stands up
and starts mocking people, mocking the kids. I beat you, ha ha ha. That's kind of what Korra did. You used God mode. Congratulations.
She's not the Grinch. Look, my objection to this...
Yeah, I prefer the Grinch. The Grinch learned a lesson.
My objection to this is not that she would use great power for kind of petty things, because she wasn't being vicious about it. She was having fun. I can understand that. Aang did a lot of, hey, I can bend air and I have magic powers and I'm going to fly around because it's fun. You know, I get that. My problem was that the Avatar state was just so freaking easy for her. It used to be you had to be desperate, you had to be, really freaking trying hard. She's turning it on, ding, and I was like, you kind of cheapened it right there. This should be hard. This should be super mode for emergencies only.
It took 3 seasons for Aang to learn how to master the Avatar state, and it involved intensive training with a guru,
you remember that
and he had to give up his longing for Katara. He had to give up all this amazing stuff.
He had to
his
really
fear,
deal with
his
emotional
desperation.
Things. Yeah.
And then we have
Korra just
Korra.
has it ding. Which is fine as far as she learned 3 elements all of a sudden. I was like, oh, she's a prodigy. I like that. But give me something on the Avatar state. That's got to be harder. That's got to.
And it says that patience is something that's vital to learn airbending. Clearly, she has the patience of a 3-year-old toddler on ADHD.
I don't,
Actually,
again,
no, less patience because that bratty kid with the ugly design is better at airbending than her.
I'm not so sure that they are really. I mean, she's learned airbending, but she learned Deus Ex Machina at the end of the last episode.
Okay, but here's
the last season.
On the one hand, Korra's actions were terrible. She basically told Tenzin later that I think you're a terrible teacher. I'm learning nothing from you. I'm fine with airbending, despite the fact that I only just barely learned it 6 months ago, and it took other people years to learn this stuff. I don't need your help anymore. Screw you. I'm going to go learn with this new guy that no one else appears to approve of.
There's a couple of points to make here. First off, she didn't say screw you to Tenzin. She said this is as far as we go. It was much more calm. Secondly, I have more objection to the idea that training with a new guy is somehow a bad notion. Because Tenzin objects to it, her father objects to it, and I'm thinking they're why do you guys not like this guy? They don't offer up any arguments. And we've just had this very obvious demonstration where an evil spirit shows up, and neither her father nor Tenzin can defeat it, and here's a guy who can defeat it quite easily. Oh, you know what? We should train with this guy. And it doesn't mean that you hate Tenzin. It just means I'm going to spend 6 months with the new dude, and I'm going to come back to Tenzin, and we can go to the air temples then.
The way she talked to Tenzin, I felt was extremely disrespectful and rude.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean,
sometimes.
At the same time, Tenzin was just Korra, you must listen to me, and then doesn't give any reasons. And I'm Tenzin, just freaking, state your case. You don't know.
Korra's supposed to grow up to be this diplomat, right? The balance between all the 4 nations. So the one who has access to all the knowledge of the past.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem with that. She hasn't shown any such diplomacy. She basically says, okay, granted, Tenzin and the others didn't really give a whole lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But she didn't really try to understand their reasons at all. That's something that someone who's...
Yeah, it felt scripted. You know what I mean by that?
Yes.
We had to get to this next point of the plot, so it just sort of happened, and people didn't, react in a full-bodied way that they ought to.
But she felt like she was being very disrespectful to her teacher, who took her in, pretty much considers her part of his family, and considering that she's technically his dad, and man, is that a sentence I never thought I'd have to say.
Yeah.
You know, I try to let him down easier. I think that you still have much to teach me. I hope that I can teach under you later. But right now, the world needs me to learn how to do this to protect it from spirits.
Yeah, I think what happens...
Heck, she should have been taught tact by the Order of the White Lotus, or her father.
It's kind of... Yeah.
Okay, here's something that you should think about. I am not the Avatar. I am not anything nearly as important as the Avatar. I'm a guy who's slightly overweight and sitting around talking about a children's show on the internet.
He always says he's overweight. You look fine to me, but go ahead.
It's a body mass index thing.
All right, go ahead.
But here's the thing. My parents taught me how to talk to people, how to interact with them. If I tried telling my teachers the things that Korra did, they would have tanned my hide. And here's the thing. My parents were a marketing executive and a computer consultant. They were not a tribal leader who should know these things like diplomacy, tact, or, I don't know, a bunch of people whose sole goal in the world is to train the Avatar to deal with any such circumstance and probability. The Order of the White Lotus. They should have taught her at least basic diplomatic skills and tact before they even let her out of the compound. Before they even taught her bending.
I suppose.
And humility, too. You are a god made flesh. Act like the human that you are.
You just told her she was a god made flesh.
Yeah?
How does that teach anybody humility? Downplay that part.
You were a god made flesh, but you were just as mortal as the rest of us.
Oh, okay.
Aang handled it better. And Aang was raised in...
an ice box.
No, he was A, he was 10, and B, he was raised by the monks. And he was still better at social interaction than Korra is.
Well, all right, so if you're going to rant about social interaction, we should get to the next part, which did bug me more than the Tenzin thing.
Although, I do have to say, her interaction with Tenzin, I did think that, on the plus side, that did feel like something that she would actually say. Which is a complaint I've had about My Little Pony in the past, that sometimes, well, the arguments and the fights, I'm giving finger quotes here, felt very scripted. Like they were supposed to have a fight so that they could have a plot this episode instead of them talking.
I was never really bugged by that. Careful not to touch the wire, by the way. It'll make a noise.
That was one of my biggest problems with the Royal Candlelight Wedding.
Well, we're not going to get into that because that would take forever.
I'm not getting into the Royal Candlelight Wedding. I'm just saying, despite the fact that Twilight is known to freak out, none of her friends show the slightest bit of sympathy or try to understand why she thinks this way. Even though the first episode of the season that wasn't Discord related was Lesson 0, and they basically told you should try to understand your friends better. It's that kind of thing. Like, it felt like they were forced to not believe her just so that they could have a plot.
So getting to the point I was mentioning, the other part of Korra's...
I'm sorry, one thing. On the bad side of Korra acting, well, like a bitch to Tenzin, well, she was acting like a bitch to Tenzin.
I think you said that already. I was going to get to how she interacts with Mako, though. And that felt to me a sort of stereotypical moody girl type of thing. Like Mako's like, oh, I think you should do X. And she's like, well, I think you're taking someone else's side. And then later he's like, I'll support whatever you do. And she's like, oh, so you won't give me advice? And I'm like, can Korra be more emotionally mature than this? I'd prefer...
Aang was more emotionally mature than this.
Yeah, it was,
he was.
Still simplistic, really. And, she, kind of makes up with him later and says, I'm sorry, which is nice. But, why did she act that way in the first place? I don't get it, It just seems stereotypical. So what else happens in this show? Bolin does kind of nothing. So Asami wants to, she needs somebody to handle her shipments for the future industries. Which I kind of like, okay, so the guy's in jail, that kind of screws up their business. Right.
Here's something that I was wondering about future industries.
Yeah.
She never gave any indication. It seems like she was saying, oh yeah, we're only going to be selling airplanes now. What happened to the mecha tanks?
Right, she didn't say...
I can think of literally 10 things that I could do with mecha tanks.
She did not say we will only sell airplanes now. She said these airplanes are ready to ship. They probably have automobiles also.
Well,
And-
they do have automobiles
Yeah.
also.
Okay. And maybe mecha tanks. Why not?
Yeah, that just bugged me because that would seem like something that shows continuity from the previous season, and at the same time shows, well, that.
Maybe she's taking the Tony Stark approach of we don't make weapons anymore type of thing.
Again, I can think of like 10 uses of the mecha tanks
Yeah,
without
all right,
resorting
that's
to
true.
weapons.
That's true. You could use them in industrial purposes and stuff, which they might be using. They didn't
Industrial
they
purposes.
just didn't talk about it very much.
You could build an underwater version for exploration. You could build ones for
build Rapture.
construction. You could make. You could have some for the police for dealing with vendors.
Jousting,
Heck, giant robot fights.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't watch that? That sounds great.
Now for the pro robot fights. Right.
Oh, are you kidding? I tuned into that before I tuned into pro bending.
Which, by the way, a little randomness there at the beginning of each episode. They have that guy who tells you the recap of the previous episode, and we're not in Republic City anymore, so he feels kind of out of place.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would replace him with, but it just felt like a little weird. Like, we don't have that guy in our environment, and he's still talking, and I don't know.
Yeah. Also, it showed the first. Never mind. Sorry.
All right. So we were talking about Asami though, and so she, no one's doing business with Future Tech, and they need to do business with somebody. So she goes to meet with this guy Varric. Well, we loaded up a character list before we started recording, so at least
because we can't remember half the names.
Because they're very foreign names, and it's just harder to you have to pay more attention to figure out how it was pronounced.
Yeah,
like
Varric
Tonrock. You don't quite get that on your first hearing.
Varric is butt fucking sane.
I thought it was funny.
Okay, yeah, he's highly eccentric. Like
Yeah.
he makes Tony Stark look subdued by comparison.
Oh yeah, Tony Stark's got his own different thing.
Well, yeah, but I like him, but I don't know. Something feels vaguely off.
Maybe you're not getting the sense of he actually has business savvy.
Maybe it's because the last guy who had business savvy that we saw in Avatar or in his universe was a supporter of the Equalists. So I'm kind of on my guard about him.
Maybe. Well, the thing I was gonna get to, this is a minor thing, but so Asami goes to meet with Varric, and she brings Bolin as her assistant.
Why?
Yeah, that was my thought. Like, what is
the guy
Bolin
has one
gonna do?
talent: playing with Pabu. He's not even that good at pro bending. Because literally, the first thing we see in this season is him getting his ass handed to him and getting a record for how fast a team can lose.
Granted, it was basically a 3-on-1 match because his partners apparently sucked, but yeah, I mean, and then he like accidentally fixes everything, and you're like, oh, that's kind of neat, but like, why was he in that scene to begin with? Like, if you didn't psychically know that he was going to fix everything, why did you bring him to this meeting? I don't get it. And I'm wondering, are they trying to set him up with Asami? Is that where we're going? Like, because he doesn't otherwise have a romantic interest?
I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't breed.
We'll find out.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. He kind of dominated the whole negotiation thing. Asami barely did anything.
Right.
So that leads to the uncomfortable implications that, okay, only let the men talk and let the women just...
I don't think that was anything to do with men versus women. It was like, by pure coincidence, we have a nutcase and another nutcase, and they get along together.
Okay.
Because like if Mako could have shown up and it would have obviously not worked,
Yeah. Maybe they were trying to reflect the Sokka mechanist thing.
Yeah.
But comparing Bolin to Sokka is just... Ugh.
Yeah.
Bolin
Sokka was an inventor. I love that. He invented the freaking submarine. And granted it was a little child's drawing, but still it was an interesting idea.
He invented the submarine. He
perfected the hot air balloon thingamajig they had.
Mm-hmm. He figured out how the drill worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
The original series just had more depth to everybody.
And then Asami, they had the Varric clowning around for a while, showing off how now they have movies.
Yeah.
And
including the earlier version of strippers. What do you know?
Yes. You heard that right.
We've invented stripper films. I thought the implication was that they're going to have films that aren't just about horse chocobos.
Yeah, they are chocobos.
Chocobos
running around. They had those in the last series, but they call them ostrich horses.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna call them chocobos.
Yeah, chocobos.
It's a much better name.
Yeah, they're planning on having actual plot and stuff.
Yeah,
in their
but
films, not just
not
the
that it
chocobo
matters
running.
to the not that it matters to our plot because we're gonna go deal with the spirit world, and who cares if films exist?
Yeah, the spirit world. Here's an ass pull if I ever heard one. You know, the Avatar's supposed to be like this big important person. Why do they not constantly brief her on all the threats to the world?
That was weird. Like at least the what's his name?
Yes,
I'm
for the
totally
last few
looking it
months,
up.
ships have
Unalaq.
been attacked. For the last few months, ships have been being attacked by spirits, and Korra's shocked to hear this. Why are you shocked to hear this?
Someone should tell you. Yeah.
This
yeah.
is something that should be very important. You're the bridge between Earth and the spirit world.
I mean, logically, yeah, the Avatar should have like a staff, whether or not she wants it. That'll just show up and be like, "Here's a message from freaking Ba Sing Se, and they have a problem with whatever," and like there'd be paperwork and stuff. It'd be kind of boring if you think about it, but that's like logically kind of how it would work,
Yeah.
So there was a great setup with the original series that like nobody knew the Avatar had returned, and he was very natural for him to stumble upon new problems every episode.
Well, it's not so much stumble as the world is in such a mess that if you take 3 steps, you will find a problem.
Oh, right, but there was no one reporting to him because the world had problems
his
already.
staff was like 4 people, and
Yeah.
it was all his age.
Right. And they were all with him anyway.
Here's another thing I have a problem with. Suddenly, Unalaq
Yeah.
Unalaq is capable of magically making spirits go away.
Mm-hmm.
Is he like the only guy who can do this? Is there like no one in the world who can fight these using more mundane means, not using magic?
Well, no, just anyone who knows the similar magic. I mean, I could get the idea that like normal means don't work against spirits, but like, aren't there other priests? What about that guy who was in the Eastern Air Temple? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like those types of people. Does anybody know anything about the spirit world? It seems just kind of minimalized. There's just no one else.
Only Unalaq can do this.
Now you could say that he's the guy who happens to be here at the moment, but it'd just be nice to get a sense that there's a larger world. You know what I'm saying?
Heck, in this world, we don't even have spirits, and there are ways to repel spirits.
Yeah, that's true. We have exorcists.
Salt, iron, holy water, religion.
Yeah.
All these things are like not proven.
Believed to be
effective against spirits, and they don't have any way. Okay, we need the one magic guy in the entire world who can fix this problem.
Who happens to be visiting today. I mean,
that felt a little coincidental.
that felt the spirits are attacking ships in southern waters. I would have loved to get a sense that people cared,
or that
like
someone died. I would have loved to see someone throw like a bucket of blood on Korra, screaming, "You bastard! You're the Avatar! Why couldn't you have protected my husband?"
I wouldn't have gone with bucket of blood. But
I couldn't think of a bucket of anything.
Bucket of angry letters. No, I don't know. But
paper cuts on face. Must go into Avatar state to fix this one. And then all the Avatars get pissed off because, you bitch! We can feel all the paper cuts now.
Watch the capping. But yeah, like, when we're at the carnival and things are great, but like people sort of whisper to each other that like, "Oh, the ship sunk. Do you think it was the spirits?" Oh, like.
Also, how do they know the spirits are the ones doing this? Are there survivors? Can we talk to one?
That would be great. Yeah. How about that guy? Remember that guy? He was the lookout, and then like his buddy, his old mentor, or whatever, gets like eaten. That guy could show up and be like, "Everyone, spirits are attacking, and our ship." Like his ship would be like half sunk, like it barely makes into harbor, and we could.
Or better yet, he comes in a lifeboat.
Yes, comes in a lifeboat, and he's like screaming bloody murder about the spirits are attacking, and Korra would be like, "Oh, the spirits," and this would be the first time anyone has heard of it, maybe. Because he's like the first guy that made it back to shore, with an eyewitness account.
Yeah, but
and then that would start off the plot in a way that makes sense.
But we never really got that.
We never got that. It was just like, things have been under attack for a while. Oh, what, have they? No one mentioned this to me?
It's a consistent failing of the Legend of Korra show that they don't expand upon this amazing world they have.
Yeah.
They make everything really small.
It's, or cardboard, you know what I'm saying? Because people will say to us, "Oh, well, it's a big world. We were in Republic City, now we're in the Southern Water Tribe." Yes, but it doesn't feel developed enough. It doesn't quite feel real. I don't quite notice how the world works and all this.
Unalaq. Let's talk about him.
I mean, Unalaq walks in, and he wants to train Korra, and Tenzin doesn't like him, and Tonraq doesn't like him. So I'm just like, well, he's evil. Like, he hasn't done anything evil yet, but I know he has to be evil, because why else does Tenzin not like him? Yeah.
No, I didn't say that he's evil. I said, Evil, evil, I'm so evil, kicking puppies, that's for me. Dr. Wily, Bowser, Sigma, I'm so evil, final boss is me.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay, it was better because I screwed up the last line, but...
No,
and there's like a whole nother stanza of actually,
and that just tells you something because,
he's just so transparently evil.
No, well, he's not. It's weird. It's weird because he is not kicking puppies on screen. He is not, like, going, or traditional, obvious evil tropes.
He's not Lord Zed.
He's not Lord Zed. He's not that sort of... So he's talking about balancing the world and the spirits and all that.
And in case you ever forget that he wants the Southern Water Tribe to have more belief in the spirits, don't worry.
Oh,
every time he opens his
seconds.
fucking mouth, he says it.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Korra. Things look well here. This squid on a stick is delicious. It's too bad it comes from the Southern Water Tribe, which doesn't have the belief in the spirits that the North does.
He's just ramming the plot so clear. It's so I'm saying, so he's not like obviously evil in the traditional sense, but to us we can spot it. There's no other villain. Here's a new guy. He's tense with Tenzin and Tonraq. Yeah, he's probably gonna be evil. It's just gonna happen somehow. And at the end of episode 2, what do you know? He has a freaking fleet coming in to conquer the world. I saw it coming.
This is interesting. I actually realized that this is slightly God-winning, the story, but I actually spotted a historical parallel.
Oh?
His talk about, I want everything united, and I want it all to be the same, and...
Unite the two tribes, at least, yeah.
Yeah. I actually spotted parallels with Adolf Hitler's initial claims that he wanted to unite all Germanic-speaking people under one ruler.
Yeah, there you go.
And he started part of it by moving troops into different countries.
Yeah.
To say, okay, these are Germanic-speaking peoples. They're ours now because we're Germany. Fuck you.
Yeah, and then it didn't turn out so well in the long run.
Then so initially they actually appeased him by giving him land and stuff, and they're like,
there's Chamberlain and all this. I don't know a whole lot about World War II history, but I know that Chamberlain screwed it up.
Chamberlain had good intentions.
Oh, he did.
It's just that he didn't predict that Adolf
was all that evil. Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so we have historical precedent for different groups of people that descend from similar origins.
For evil leaders, yeah. And trying to get people of similar origins within their group. But yeah, let's name a couple other things. So we need to go to the spirit portal and go restore balance to the spirits. She gets no instruction how to do this. It's walk into that forest and somehow it'll all work out. It'll be nice of you to tell her, by the way, when you get to the portal, use the avatar state. Oh, thank you, because I can turn that on very easily and so won't waste my time punching the ice for some reason.
Yeah, if all you need to do is to break the ice. Like I said, I could have broken it open with a couple sticks of dynamite.
Only the Avatar, or someone with dynamite, can bring balance to the world.
And also, something that, as someone who follows works of fiction closely, like myself or Sonic Sons, I can tell you that I personally heard, our goal is to open a portal to the spirit world. My immediate reaction, no! No, this is bad! You're going to open a portal to R'lyeh and summon Cthulhu! Opening portals to spirit realms is never a good thing in fiction. It is always bad.
Wait. Original Avatar, Aang goes to the spirit world and talks to the panda spirit.
He goes to the spirit world.
So if it's a portal is the difference, basically.
Yeah.
I see.
The problem I had is we also encountered horrifying soul-eating monsters in the spirit world. I'm sorry if I have a thing against letting Ko the Face Stealer out.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of vague what this portal does.
Or what if that panda comes back and he decides, you know what, fuck it, I'm still mad at the Fire Nation. And I'm just going to kill the first batch of people I see. I tried to keep the spirit world separate from our world.
Because it was so vague what this portal was going to do, I sort of hand-wave it as let's assume it does something good. But okay. But this other point, though, of A, not getting any instruction of what she's supposed to do when she gets there. B, we bring Bolin, as if he was useful.
We bring Bolin and the creepy twins.
We have to, somehow...
And okay, honestly, Mako I could see as being useful. Yeah. Someone who can control fire with his mind, I could see as being massively useful at the South frigging Pole.
Right.
Bolin, what was he even doing there? He didn't do anything other than get in trouble and make awkward conversation.
Right. Again with the Sokka thing, because Sokka would have these awkward moments, and then he'd hit you with his sword or whatever, like or his boomerang,
they'd be awkward, but they would have a point to them. Like he would have this awesome idea.
Right. Bolin is just sort of the load, and I can get that he's sort of funny, but yeah, it would be so much better if he was like a real Sokka. And yeah, we don't bring some soldiers or something to protect us while we go to this terrible, scary place.
Maybe Asami. She was starting to assemble like some serious Iron Man armor there, like towards the end. She had the goggles, and she drove the Korra mobile, and she had the lightning gauntlet. Maybe. I want to see someone Iron Man this shit up. I'm just seeing Asami going out there. There's like a spirit tries to attack her.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool.
And then like her chest thing erupts out and blasts it. No, wait, that's Tony Stark who has the chest thing. My bad.
Anyway.
What I'm saying is I want Tony Stark in Avatar.
That'd be interesting. So we're going to the thing, and we keep doing this thing. Tonrock doesn't trust his brother. Why don't you trust your brother? Maybe you should say something important about that. And it turns out, like, as far as we can tell, he's just mad because his brother got to be the chief. Well, that kind of makes Korra's dad look like just so selfish, I guess.
Well,
if your brother was evil and got to be the chief, like, I get it. But, like, well, you did screw things up in the north. I can kind of, what are you complaining about? I don't know.
It is kind of stupid in hindsight. I mean, the Northern Water Tribe is the location of the moon and ocean spirits.
Yeah.
Years before you were born, earlier in your life, probably, the Zhao came and punched the moon spirit, and the moon died.
Yeah, pretty cool.
This is a thing that happened.
Yeah, and he had to go fight these barbarians, and it looked like really overkill on that forest. I mean,
it looked like it got pulverized by a meteor strike.
Yeah, and like you were only capturing like 8 guys. Like you couldn't do slightly less damage than that.
Also, where the hell did these barbarians come from? Is there like another tribe somewhere that doesn't bend and they're just made of jackasses? Were they pirates?
I don't know.
Let's say pirates.
There should have been like one tree that's like the most important, and they accidentally like nick it. Like a minor thing.
Oh, you mean like the giant tree they had in the swamp?
Yeah. Like what? But like so you could damage it accidentally instead of like wow, meteor strike on this freaking forest somehow.
Yeah, you didn't like hold back or anything. What were these guys? Didn't even look like they could bend. They just looked like they were armed with crowbars and twigs.
Yeah.
And it's like, men, I don't want a single stone standing.
I also love how the buildings made of snow
snow and rock. They're amazingly flammable in like almost every version of Avatar.
I mean, like there's always smoke coming out of them. And it's like, how do you? But it is made of freaking ice, and you have a lot of waterbenders. I don't see how anything is going to catch fire for very long.
Yeah, I was seeing this lasting like 5 seconds. Then the ice melts around the fire.
Yeah.
So maybe seeing like a lot of houses collapsed or melty, maybe.
I mean, I can understand the writers had a problem with that because they want to show like the places damaged and somehow they have
then
to
show a bunch of buildings knocked down.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Also, the only forces that are available are Tonrock's forces that appear to be 20 miles away. Like they don't have cops. They don't have like a
I don't
PDF.
know. Maybe they were like overwhelmed or something. A PDF.
Personal Defense Force.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of Adobe PDFs.
Oh no,
use the PDF. Okay, now we can send this document across the internet.
Okay, well they didn't have like other forces much closer to the city. Also, he's the general. Apparently, the entire Water Tribe army is about 20 guys.
I don't know. The little moments too, where the guy rides up and he's like, "We're under attack," and he responds by like walking forward, off camera. And then, I don't know, shouldn't you say something like, "Men, we're under attack, arm up."
Or how about this? Who are we being attacked by? Where? How?
Or you know what? The first guy should just continue. "We're under attack. It's a bunch of guys on the southern side of the thing, and they're barbarians," and like information, These little things, it's not much, but they add up. You get the it makes it feel more like cardboard. So
also the dude, the Unalaq. Unalaq. He says, "No, only the Avatar can go into this frozen forest to to unblock the spirit portal. And immediately, Korra's companions, Mako and Bolin, just go up and like, no, we're going too. And he's like, nope, you can't go. Oh, okay. Well, first off, how are you, Truk? First off, Katara and Sokka and the gang back in the day, they would have not taken that. They would have kicked him in the balls and said, fuck you, we're going anyway.
It wasn't clear why they couldn't go. I mean, why couldn't they at least accompany her up to that ice thing she needed to do?
Mako seems like he would be an ideal person to go with, seeing as how he's a living flamethrower in a place made out of ice.
That could be useful, yeah.
Yeah, that seems like it would be massively useful.
Yeah, there should have been like a magical reason. Like, there's this big sort of magic force field thing, and like literally only the Avatar can get past. And I would have been like, oh, okay,
heck,
magic,
there should have been an army of spirits, and they just step aside for the Avatar.
That would be cool. I would like that.
It would provide a mystical sense of things.
And there's another thing with this. They keep talking about spiritualism. It doesn't feel like spiritualism. It feels like there's another branch of magic we have to deal with. You know, remember that...
Miss Korra, you've 10 points from Gryffindor!
Well, okay, you remember the episode...
I swear to God, if that's the 7th season, I will stab someone.
The episode with Aang, in the original series, Aang and the guru who's teaching him his chakras.
Yeah.
And, like, they actually dealt with emotional issues and spirituality in, like, a kind of a spiritual way, and I thought that was really neat. Even though it was kind of fast, but it was okay.
Okay, well, yeah, they had a limited time and budget.
They had a limited time and budget. You know, I would love to have this sense that the spiritual world is spiritual, and you need to have character growth to deal with it.
Well, Korra's doomed.
Which, you know, remember when Aang dealt with the Ko, the face stealer?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like super spiritual, but still it was a thing besides punching. You had to, you know, control your emotions when you were in the presence of this guy.
Precisely.
Like, it was kind of cool.
And this is clearly something, not Cthulhu, but Cthulhu-esque. It's something that is so far beyond our comprehension that mortal mind, if it tried to truly understand this thing, it would probably shatter and break. And it steals your face.
Yeah.
That was genuinely horrifying.
That was a one-scene wonder with that guy, yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason why Ko is still kind of popular. I mean...
I'm hoping he shows up this season. I really
me
do.
too.
Yeah.
There just be... It's just so... And then the spirits show up. I was expecting all these really cool, unique designs. Nope, they're all, they're either the Heartless from Kingdom Hearts... Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, or rip-offs of the Angels from Evangelion.
Hey, anything that's as weird as the Angels is pretty cool in my book.
Okay, yeah,
The initial thing, tentacle thing, was kind of cool. Like, it wasn't just like a bear. It was like, it has these crazy tentacles and stuff. What bugged me more, and this is, again, a small thing, the music in the scene where the first spirit attacked, it was like, ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. It was like building up to the fight instead of, hey, we're actually fighting it already. What are we doing here? Why is it so slow in the music? I don't know.
Wasserman effect, people.
Yeah, Wasserman effect indeed. Which basically means awesome music is important.
No, it means an awesome fight scene coupled with awesome music makes it more awesome.
Yeah.
And even a lame fight scene with awesome music can make the fight scene better.
Yeah. So, yeah, stuff adds up, and then at the end where he's like, I brought my fleet down here, and Korra has this expression on her face like she's kind of defeated or something. Oh. Shouldn't you, like, grab him by the throat and be like, why the frick are you invading my homeland?
I have a polar bear dog. He will eat your frackin' face, bitch.
Just bind him up in ice or something and then yell down to the guys below, hey, I've got your leader here. I could kill him at any moment.
No. Don't bind him in ice. He's a waterbender.
Right.
Bind him in stone.
Bind him in stone.
Then say, okay, you're going to live or I'm going to shiv this guy in the face.
You know, like, I mean, and if they don't want that to happen immediately, put an angry expression on her face, and then she can do that in the next episode, you know. Instead of it's like this, too bad.
No. See, if they don't want to do that, don't want to leave immediately, then you threaten to cut off a finger for every 10 minutes that they're not gone yet.
No, I meant they as in the writers. Oh. If they didn't want to have that happen immediately, they just...
Of course, it's still threatened to do that.
Indicate it, yeah. You know, yeah.
Quite honestly, it was a good start to the season. There's just a lot of stuff that adds up to a lot of problems.
You know, when what's her name, Tenzin's daughter, has that dream about this other avatar, for just a second there, it felt more spiritual and interesting. just at the beginning of that, she's walking along, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? I don't know. We're not punching something. And then, yeah. And then Boomy's retired for some reason all of a sudden. They wanted to throw him in as a new character.
He got really popular after the season finale, mostly because, he seemed equally as insane as his predecessor.
Yeah. Though he's not quite that insane, is he? The original Boomy takes the cake, I say.
The original Boomy was bonkers. He was over a century old.
But he was awesome at the same time. I loved that. He was like really clever bonkers.
Oh, yeah.
I love the whole episode where they introduced him was so cool.
Oh, yeah. The city of Omashu.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's basically what I had to say. Anything else?
The air acolytes kind of seem like jerks.
Oh.
They're like, they seem to place a really high importance on airbenders, which, yes, I understand. There's a reason why they're so excited about the presence of airbenders.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, that's no reason to, treat the others like shit.
Well, yeah.
And
she
then
just said, I'm sorry, or whatever.
Well, yeah, I know. It's just the whole way too enthusiastic. Or heck, the way they referred to Puma? What was Pema? That was her name.
Yeah.
Puma. Oh, we welcome
I married a Puma.
Puma
sorry.
man.
Oh, no, all right.
We welcome the mother of the future airbenders. Okay, that kind of diminishes her role, not just as Tenzin's wife, but down to a breeding factory.
I'll forgive that with that, 100 years and their so-called species nearly went extinct and type of thing. But yeah, it would have been nice to see more depth on their part. As the same with anybody else, really. Oh, and then one other thing, I knew I was forgetting something. So the spirits are pissed. Why are they pissed? Well, allegedly, and this could easily be a lie, but allegedly it's because we have a carnival. And we were pointing out earlier,
Okay, the Fire Nation. Allow me to leave this long list of what they have done wrong.
Yeah.
They, A, nearly glassed a continent. B, raped the earth for a century.
Yeah.
C, they literally burned down a forest to the point where the guardian spirit of the forest was going on a rampage.
Yeah.
They basically screwed over the planet a jillion times worse than anything anyone has ever done. Pollution, probably strip mining, conquest, throwing the entire world out of balance.
Yeah.
But someone serving funnel cakes and having a Ferris wheel? Blasphemy! I must purge the world of this insult!
Yeah.
They're taking the Christ out of Christmas! No!
Yeah.
You can rape the earth, motherfuckers, but don't take Jesus out of Christmas!
I mean, that relates to an earlier bit of, wouldn't it be nice if the spirit world were more spiritual? And what if we saw there was actually some sort of, real decadence among the Southern Water Tribe, corruption in their government, or just nastiness in some way?
But we saw that in Republic City, so are you saying that the whole world is full of shitty people then?
Well, it could have bad people in it. I mean, this one guy freaking invaded the South all of a sudden. So yeah,
that's the Northern Water Tribe, not the Southern.
But now he's in the Southern Water Tribe. So there you go.
He was in the North before, so you can't pin the South actions on him.
But I'm saying if there had been some sort of actual deficiency that would have explained stuff better. If they were chopping down the forest to make wood or something, you could be like, I can see you've done something wrong here. Having a car. I mean, you don't know what the other spiritual alternative was. What is this other non-carnival option? Wouldn't it be nice if we had an intermittent knowledge of that and we've seen it, very respectable people that are doing their meditations, talking to spirits, and we could be like, oh, look at this in contrast. Clearly these people don't get the importance. Instead it was very tell, don't show. And Unalak was just like, this isn't spiritual enough. He has this very vague spiritual mometer in his brain. Not good enough, therefore spirits attack. I just don't get the rules of this world well enough, And
you want to know why you're not getting them? They don't explain anything.
Yeah.
It would seem like that would be massively important. Maybe show him visiting one of the traditional temples.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, unless they're saying they've gone so far to the other direction of spiritualism that they're all atheists now and they've torn down the temples.
Well, even that would be a temple that's in disrepair. No one's visited in years, and he could point out just give it a sense of something.
I just got this great mental image of him going in there and starting critiquing everything. And he starts critiquing obviously insane things. And the dragons flying around aren't feeding me enough butter. Whee! And then he collapses. They drag him out. Yeah, the reason no one's used this temple in years, there's a gas leak.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, we try to fix it, but no one can get near it.
I think airbending would help with that.
Yeah, too bad we don't have any of those.
I'll mention again, also, just randomly, Korra, you need to study more of airbending. Really? Because it looks like she's mastered it. It's like a very tell don't show, oh, she needs more to learn. She's spinning around on the ball and she punches air whenever she wants to and I don't know what else she needs to do.
They're probably meaning focus more on the spiritual aspect.
Right, but that gets right back to the spiritual something is there. Are we going to do character development here? Well, no, because we were about to last season or last book. And oh, she was going to lose her powers and she was going to be humbled and she was going to be, no, wait, never mind, I have it all back again. Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, never talks to Aang. At the end of the first book, she learns how to commune with her former selves. And she's got, decisions to make now about who should be my mentor, what should I do about the spirits, what's going on in the world. Talk to Aang, maybe.
Heck, talk to Katara. She was your wife in the last life.
Man, it's so weird with these life things. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
talking to Katara would be useful, too.
Yeah, you know who would know Aang almost as well as you do, because you're technically him?
Yeah.
His wife!
Yeah.
Idiot!
And she could totally smooth things over with Tenzin. Be like, Katara could say, look, Tenzin, I think she needs to learn spiritual, whatever this thing is, spirit bending, essentially.
Well, I'd like the spirits to stop butt-fucking my village in the face, so... I'm gonna...
What is that? Oh, just skip that metaphor. I don't even know what you're...
Yeah, I'm kind of angry and I'm running out of words here.
Okay, maybe we should just end the review there, because I ran out of things to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's a whole mess of problems.
It's not like a terrible show. We have to point that out.
It's a very good show.
I would say very good.
Maybe just good.
It's got some good ideas, some good art, good animation. It's just, this is what we do, so we take things apart not because we're just trying to be vicious or whatever, but because we want to. It's like opening up an old mechanical clock, and we want to see how things tick and what makes fiction good and where it falls flat.
And it falls flat a lot here.
And there's just so many little things. It's just
now, granted, a bunch of these points might be remedied later in the season.
They might be,
but
just giving our initial reaction of, not as good as the original show. Remains to be not as good as the original show.
Remains to be not as good.
It was not as good last book, and it remains just as the same quality as it was. Wow, we are bad at talking. Okay. There might be a gas leak. No, probably not.
What do you think, magical talking tuba?
But yeah, so it's free online right now. Go ahead and by the time you see this, it's possibly not free online anymore.
It's probably going to be January before you see this.
All right, so have fun in the middle of winter, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're signing off before we screw up our words more.